Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Mac, and I'm back real quick because I just found out something that, oh my goodness, this is something that really can be a game changer here in Texas. If this is not handled right, it's gonna be some smoke in the city. Believe that, y'all. So, what's taking place? If you look at the title, um, in a 18-4 vote, the Texas Senate has banned critical race theory in Texas schools. I think that they voted on it Saturday or Friday or something like that. But yeah, I just found this news out. So they're banning critical race theory in schools. Why is there such a muzzle being placed on racism in the United States? Why is it that we do not want to step up and face what America has been guilty of for over 400 years? Why can't we break down and examine how the United States was built on the backs of a specific people by another people using forced labor? Why can't we examine these things and break these things down so that we don't make these same mistakes in the future? Because that's what happens when you ignore your past, or you don't learn from the mistakes of the past. You will go on to continue to make those same mistakes in the future. So if you're going to take critical race theory out of schools, then that means you don't want people to remember what happened. You're trying to erase history again now because you're not seeing in such a great light anymore. Now that the truth is being shined on what really took place, and that whole what is it, the whole image that these people built for themselves as the victor in this country, now that it's being dismantled and debunked, now you want to just take everything out now because it don't shine it don't make you look good. That's not a good look, United States. We can't muzzle the people. This is a form of freedom of speech. If I can't talk about what this country has done to a specific group of people, if I can't teach children not to make these same mistakes, what are you really saying, United States? What you're really saying to me, this is what I get out of it. You're saying that we're willing to continue repeating the same mistakes over and over. It don't matter to us. We're more concerned about saving face than we are about settling the issue or finding a solution to the problem. That's what this is telling me. So when you have these guys like Ted Cruz and you have these guys like Greg Abbott who are absolutely not for the people. We know that they're not for the people. Mr. Abbott is still dealing with this whole power grid issue that he claims that there's such a big issue with, but yet and still they're trying to attract more people to move to Texas. So if we can't deal with the amount of people that we have on the power grid now, why are you still trying to promote people to move into Texas at such large numbers so that the power grid can fail again? What are we doing there, Governor Abbott? I'm not on the same page with you with this. We need some understanding of what you're doing to help with this power grid. That's your focus. You shouldn't be focusing on this critical race theory. This has nothing to do with you right now. You get the power grid fixed. Ted Cruz, we know that you're not for the people of Texas because when that whole power grid thing happened and people out here freezing, you ran down to what was it, Cabo or something like that, some warm, toasty island, and left the people behind here to fend for themselves. And you were nowhere to be seen, Mr. Representative. So we have absolutely no concern about what you think or what you feel concerning the critical race theory because we already know what your stance and position is anyway. So now that we've got that out of the way, these people are trying to stop us from examining things like systemic oppression. which is ironic because that's exactly what this is. This vote to ban critical race theory from school is systemic oppression. This is one of the things that critical race theory exposes about these people. So they don't want to be exposed. That's what it boils down to, because they no longer can keep the information hidden from us, because we're in an age of information to where we can pull these things up and actually have some reference points and great resources, incredible resources to validate the points that we have to make, debunking the lies that they have told us. So now that they can't stop us from doing that way, they're going to try to systemically oppress us from discussing these things that they've done to the people. This is amazing. I never thought that I would live to see the day that the United States government, who boasts so freely about the freedoms and the liberty of this country, are becoming such a dictatorship. It's sickening. It started with the last administration, in an attempt to try to make this a dictatorship. And sad to say that we're still going through that under this system. It's just being done in a more friendly, covert fashion. Um, you have these Republicans that like Ted Cruz and like Mr. Abbott, who are out front. They're not good at hiding their racism. They're not good at hiding their white nationalism. And so we understand them for what they are. We know what they do. But to so blatantly come out and say, no, you can't talk about that, not to the students in school because we have some say in that, that's really bothersome. And that really reinforces what I say about how they indoctrinate our children in school. They don't educate, they indoctrinate. Because over the past, at least, well, I know when I was in school, it was called the CAT test, the California Achievement Test. This was a test that every child had to take to see what their level of learning was. And you score a certain amount on the test, they got certain fundings for it. Well, fast forward to when my children were coming up, they were taking the tax test here in Texas. And the teachers spent most of their time feeding these children information just to pass the tax test. So they weren't really learning anything that they needed to learn as far as curriculum wise, because so much of their effort and their time was spent towards making sure that those children passed those tax tests so that they could get that funding from these government entities. So, with that being said, you have these congressmen, you have these senators, and they're out here and they're playing games with our children's education. They're playing games with our children's lives for money and for their pride, for their ego. All of these things supersede our children. They supersede our communities. They supersede everything that we go out here every day and work for in the eyes of those people. In the eyes of those people, I want to get that clear. So now they're going to systemically oppress us by saying that you cannot teach children or break down the reasoning behind what happened here in America so that they won't have a clear understanding of where the racism and where the hatred originated from. And they won't be able to make their own informed decision about it because you're taking that away from them with this vote. It's crazy. So you can't tell these kids about the wealth differential between y'all and the lower class people and how y'all have a leg up because you have that um head start that was built off of the backs of the people that you never paid for the work that they did to build this country to where it is. So we can't tell our children that. I'm gonna tell them at home. I don't need it to be told in the school. Actually, me personally, because I'm going to teach it anyway. I've been teaching it. I've been teaching it for years. I'm saying going back to the 90s. Whenever I started to learn, What was taking place? Because critical race theory is nothing new. We've been talking about this in the home for years. And so I'm going to continue to teach it. So what are they going to do next? Are they going to try to ban it on social media platforms next? Because if it passes in Congress and it actually becomes a bill, then that's what's going to happen next. They're going to start to suppress our freedom of speech on here, even more so than what they already do, because we already know that there are things that's being done to suppress what we say on here as well. So just pay attention. I'm here in Texas, so this is in my backyard. And so that's why I jumped on here so quick, because I want people who's in this surrounding area to understand what's going on, because we need to raise our antennas, because what's taking place now, we can't talk about the segregation through zoning. Yeah, that's something that I have a buddy who's in he was in city council, and this is one big thing that he was working on. That was part of his entire time in city council, was working on the zoning and the different districts and how they are set up so that funds are allocated to certain sides of town, and other sides of town only get the little scraps at the end. See, these are all the things that are discussed when you talk critical race theory, and they don't want this image of them to be put out there. Why? They don't have no problem with our negative image being put out there, and they don't have no problem with us perpetuating our negative image. But when it comes down to revealing what they truly are and really putting their true image out there, and pulling that veil off of their face so that they can't hide anymore, now it's an issue. Now they want to pass bills to suppress us talking about these things and educating children on what the United States have done in the past, so that they won't go forth to make those same mistakes. That's telling me something right there. We're not dumb. We by far are not dumb people. We understand what y'all are doing, Republican Party, and I'd also say some Democrats, because those Democrats has been in there for a long time. Those non-progressive Democrats who just want to go with the flow, and no, they're fighting against it too, because they're part of that good old boy club as well. Like I said, both wings on the eagle, it's on the same bird. So yeah, let's be vigilant, man. Let's be mindful. And regardless if they take critical race theory out of schools, we should be talking to our children about this anyway. Talking to our children about everything in life that they're going to be facing. We don't leave it up to the schools to build our children up, to build up their character, and to give them a good informed perspective of the world, because the schools have their own agendas, as we can see, and it's ran by the government and controlled by the government. So, school your children. That's one of the greatest things my parents ever did for me. I did a video about some of the books that my parents bought for me as a child. And I mean, before I was even able to read, my parents had a library for me and my brothers. And one of the main books, because my name is Kunta Kinte, they had the book Roots. So I had the understanding of my name. And not only that, I had the understanding of my culture and how we were, and how we came to be over here. So I understood all of these things as a young man. And when I got in school and they tried to attempt to teach me their watered down version of our history, I saw then as a child and understood as a child that there was something wrong about this story that's told. So I've always been skeptical because of that. And now they're showing us blatantly right in our face that they don't want us to know the truth. They don't want us to find out our identity. This is all coming down to what our identity is, because critical race theory is going to lead back to that. It's always going to lead back to that question. Well, who are these people? And what is it about these people that make you want to build an entire system to oppress them? Just them, not anybody else. You know, other people may get wrapped up in guilty by association with this specific group of people, but why them? Why is their identity? Why is it always a problem for them to try to find out who they really are? You have to ask these questions, and we're not going to like the answer. They definitely don't like the answer because they know what it is and they don't want it to get out. But we're in the days of the great revealing, so it's coming whether they like it or not. And I just wanted to put this out here. People in Texas, teach your children about critical race theory. Give them the option um, to really, really look into what's going on in our society and what's behind the scenes. Because everybody has that facade that they show up front. Everybody has that professional image that they're going to portray up front. But behind closed doors, that's where everything really, really goes down. So I just wanted to put this out here today. And that's all I really got right now because I'm starting to ramble. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here, man. If you appreciate this piece of information I just put out to you, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And this is your boy D Mac. Hey, sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.